The sun had just begun to rise over the dusty plains of Zareen Colony, casting long orange shadows across the metal buildings. Dr. Elias Rowe, a skilled engineer known for his quiet brilliance, worked alone in his workshop, surrounded by tools and half-finished inventions. He enjoyed the silence, the hum of machines, and the smell of heated metal, but today something unusual disturbed his calm. A soft, almost human-like cry echoed from outside, carrying a strange, melodic tone that made Elias pause. He wiped his hands on a cloth and stepped out onto the landing platform, scanning the horizon. There, at the edge of the colony, he saw it, a small creature, no taller than a human child, with glowing eyes that reflected the rising sun. Its skin shimmered like liquid silver, and one arm ended not in fingers, but in a jagged stump that seemed to pulse with faint light. Elias's heart skipped a beat, curiosity and fear battling inside him. He had never seen anything like this before, not in any of the alien reports the colony had received. The child looked weak, confused, and scared, yet there was a strange intelligence in its gaze, as if it understood far more than it should. Slowly, Elias approached, holding out a hand in peace. The creature flinched, but did not run. It tilted its head, studying Elias with an expression that seemed to mix hope and suspicion. Elias knelt, keeping his voice calm and gentle. "I won't hurt you," he said, though he wasn't sure if it could understand him. The alien child reached out its remaining arm, trembling, and touched his hand, sending a shiver down his spine. Elias realized that the child's missing limb was more than an injury, it was a part of its very being. The stump glowed faintly, almost like it had a life of its own, and Elias felt an instinctive need to help. He carried the child carefully into his workshop, ignoring the odd looks from passing colonists. Once inside, he set the child on a soft mat and examined the missing limb, wondering how he could even begin to fix something so alien. Hours passed, and Elias studied the child, trying to understand its anatomy and energy. He sketched, measured, and thought aloud, speaking to himself as he often did when lost in invention. "This isn't just a limb," he murmured, "it's connected to its life force somehow." The child watched him silently, occasionally letting out a soft hum, a sound that vibrated through the room like music. Elias felt a connection forming, a bond of trust that was fragile but undeniable. Outside, the colony continued its daily routine, unaware of the strange guest in Elias's workshop. Inside, he worked tirelessly, mixing human technology with alien materials scavenged from nearby debris. The task seemed impossible, yet he could not stop. Every mistake, every small failure only made him more determined. As night fell over Zareen Colony, the child rested quietly, eyes following Elias as he adjusted the prototype limb. Elias paused for a moment, wiping sweat from his brow, and looked down at the small creature. Something about this moment felt monumental. He didn't know it yet, but the decision he had made to help this alien child would change his life forever. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, unseen eyes watched, calculating, waiting, as the first threads of an extraordinary story began to weave themselves into existence. The night deepened over Zareen Colony, and inside his workshop, Dr. Elias Rowe worked tirelessly. The alien child slept quietly on a soft mat, its chest rising and falling with a gentle rhythm. Elias studied the glowing stump, turning it over in his hands, trying to understand the strange energy flowing through it. He remembered the old data logs he had read long ago, tales of the Valari, the alien species known for their advanced intelligence and fragile bodies. Their cities had once shone like stars in the darkness of space, but a devastating war had left them scattered and broken. The child before him was one of the last of its kind, and its missing limb was not just a wound, it was a mark of the tragedies that had touched its world. Elias began to mix human technology with the alien material, a silver-like substance that shimmered with a faint inner light. Each piece he shaped, soldered, and connected had to fit perfectly with the child's delicate biology. If he made a single mistake, it could harm the child, yet if he succeeded, he could restore not just the limb, but a spark of hope for an entire species. Hours passed, and the workshop filled with a strange symphony of sparks, whirring machines, and soft hums from the child. Elias worked methodically, but his mind kept drifting to the history of the Valari, imagining the grand cities, the towering crystal spires, and the gentle music that had once filled their streets. He wondered how a race so brilliant could fall so low, and why this child had ended up in his workshop. A sense of destiny began to settle in his mind, a feeling that he was part of something far larger than his lonely life on Zerine Colony. At one point, the child stirred, its glowing eyes opening to watch him work. Elias paused, realizing that the creature was learning from him, observing every movement, every adjustment. It let out a soft, melodic hum, almost like a question, and Elias smiled, feeling a strange comfort in the sound. He whispered, "We will fix this together," and for the first time, he felt the weight of responsibility not as a burden, but as a purpose. Outside the workshop, the colony slept, unaware of the small miracle unfolding inside. Elias carefully connected the final components, watching as the limb pulsed and glowed with a light that matched the child's own energy. He hesitated for a moment, fear and hope battling within him. Then, gently, he guided the prosthetic to the stump, and the child instinctively attached it. A soft glow spread through the limb, running up the child's arm and into its body. The alien emitted a sound, half laughter, half song, and Elias felt a surge of relief and wonder. He had done it, he had merged human ingenuity with alien biology, creating something that no one else could. But even as he marveled at his work, a shiver ran down his spine, a warning that their triumph would not go unnoticed. Somewhere in the darkness of space, far beyond the colony, sensors flickered and a message was sent. The Queen of the Valari had sensed the energy, felt the awakening of her kind. She would come, and she would see what a human had done. Elias did not know this yet, but the simple act of helping an alien child had set in motion forces far greater than himself. For every choice, every invention, every act of courage, would ripple through the stars. And the universe was beginning to pay attention. The morning sun barely touched the horizon when a distant hum shook the skies above Zerine Colony. Dr. Elias Rowe was still in his workshop, carefully adjusting the alien limb, when the ground trembled beneath his feet. The alien child looked up, eyes wide, sensing the disturbance before Elias did. He froze, tools in hand, heart racing, as the hum grew louder, resonating through the colony like a warning. Outside, the colony's settlers rushed to the landing platforms, shielding their eyes against the sudden glare of incoming ships. And then he saw it, a massive spacecraft, sleek and shimmering, descending slowly from the clouds. Its surface pulsed with energy, and strange symbols glowed along the hull. No human technology had ever reached such perfection, and a chill ran down Elias's spine. He felt the child stiffen beside him, the glowing limb flickering as if responding to the ship. The hum became a voice, deep and resonant, vibrating in the air and in Elias's chest. It was a presence he could not see clearly, but he understood one thing: the Queen of the Valari had arrived. His mind raced, wondering if she would be angry, curious, or merciful. The settlers stood back, whispering among themselves, some scared, others in awe. Elias knew he had no time for hesitation. He had to protect the child, yet also prepare to explain the strange, human creation before the Queen. He guided the child to a central platform in his workshop, making sure it was ready to be seen. The limb pulsed steadily now, glowing brighter, as if sensing the royal presence above. A ramp extended from the ship, and a figure descended, taller than any human, graceful and powerful. Her skin shimmered like polished metal, her eyes like liquid gold, and her presence filled the entire colony with silent authority. Elias swallowed hard, trying to keep his hands steady. The child looked up at her and trembled, yet did not hide, showing the trust that had formed between them. The Queen's gaze swept across the workshop, landing on Elias, and for a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Her expression was unreadable, neither anger nor warmth, just a deep, alien intelligence. She approached the child, studying the limb, moving with a grace that made Elias feel small and fragile. The air vibrated with tension, as if the Queen could sense every thought, every intention, every fear in the room. Elias stepped forward cautiously, "I made this for the child," he said, voice steady despite the fear. He gestured to the glowing prosthetic limb. "It's not perfect, but it can help, it can heal." The queen paused, head tilted slightly, her eyes examining the intricate design, the human ingenuity that had merged with alien biology. Then she looked at Elias, her voice like music and thunder combined. "A human, dared to touch the life of my kind," she said. The child hummed softly, sensing the shift in tension, and Elias realized that the queen was not only observing, she was judging. Every second felt stretched, every breath heavy. And just when Elias feared the worst, a small smile, almost imperceptible, curved the queen's lips. The glow of the limb pulsed stronger, a silent acknowledgement that the human had passed the first test. But even as relief washed over him, a flicker of unease ran through Elias. The queen's presence was immense, and though she did not strike or punish, he knew that this was only the beginning. Something bigger, far beyond his understanding, was now in motion. And the universe seemed to whisper that the choices of one human could ripple across the stars, changing everything. The queen's golden eyes scanned the workshop, every corner, every tool, every movement of Dr. Elias Rowe. Her presence was overwhelming, yet Elias forced himself to stand tall, heart pounding but mind sharp. The alien child sat quietly, its glowing limb shining steadily, as if waiting for the queen's verdict. "You have touched the life of my people," the queen said, her voice resonating through the room, vibrating in Elias's chest. "I do not know your intentions," she continued, "but I can sense your skill, and your courage." Elias swallowed hard, struggling to find words that could bridge the vast gap between human and Valari understanding. I only wanted to help," he said simply. "I wanted to save the child, nothing more." The queen moved closer, her gaze never leaving him, and Elias felt the weight of 1,000 judgments in her silence. She extended a hand toward the child, examining the prosthetic limb with astonishing precision. The glow from the limb pulsed in harmony with the child's own energy. The queen's eyes flickered with something Elias could not name, curiosity, wonder, perhaps approval. "You are clever," she said finally. "Human ingenuity touches the divine in ways few understand." Her voice carried both praise and warning, a reminder that humans were small, yet capable of great deeds. Elias felt a strange mix of pride and fear, knowing that a single wrong move could undo everything he had done. The child hummed softly, a sound of comfort, as if sensing that Elias's efforts had not gone unnoticed. The queen paused, then looked at Elias directly. "But this limb, it is more than a gift," she said. Her hand hovered above the prosthetic, and a faint energy ran through it, revealing hidden alien circuitry. Elias stared, realizing that the materials he had used had somehow activated a latent Valari technology. A technology that even the queen had not fully understood until now. "You have awakened something," the queen whispered, awe in her voice, "a force that connects life and creation." Elias felt a chill, the weight of responsibility pressing on him, yet a strange exhilaration filled his chest. The child's eyes shone brighter, as if acknowledging the bond that had been forged between human and alien. For the first time, Elias understood the true significance of his actions. He had not just repaired a limb, he had restored a fragment of hope to a lost people. The queen stepped back, her expression unreadable, yet Elias sensed a subtle shift, a silent respect forming in her mind. "You have done what few humans could," she said, "but the universe watches, and your actions will ripple farther than you imagine." Her words carried a warning and a promise, hinting at adventures and dangers beyond his comprehension. Elias nodded, unsure what to say, feeling both small and infinitely important in the vast cosmos. Finally, the queen turned to the child, gently touching its glowing limb, and a soft hum filled the workshop. The energy of the prosthetic pulsed, connecting human technology and Valari biology in a harmony that seemed almost sacred. The child reached out to Elias, and for a moment, all fear, all uncertainty, all doubt vanished. He had passed the test of empathy, courage, and ingenuity, and in doing so, had earned a place in a story far greater than his own. The queen's gaze swept the room one last time, lingering on Elias, a silent promise in her eyes. Then, without a word, she turned and left, her presence fading but leaving a lingering energy that filled the colony. Elias exhaled, exhaustion and relief washing over him. He did not know what lay ahead, only that his choices had changed the future, and that the universe had noticed. The colony was quiet now, the golden light of dawn spilling over the metal buildings. Dr. Elias Rowe sat beside the alien child, whose glowing limb pulsed softly, a rhythm that seemed alive. The Queen had departed, leaving behind a presence that lingered in the air, powerful and calm. Elias still could not believe what had happened, the weight of responsibility slowly settling into a sense of purpose. The child moved its new limb with a careful grace, testing each motion. Elias watched, heart swelling with pride, as the prosthetic fused seamlessly with the alien biology. Small sparks of light traveled along the limb, and with each movement, the child seemed to grow stronger. It reached for Elias, wrapping its tiny hand around his, and a soft hum escaped its lips, a song of trust and gratitude. Word of the Queen's visit spread through the colony quickly. Colonists whispered of the human who had dared to help an alien child, blending ingenuity and courage. Some were amazed, some fearful, but all were changed. Elias realized that his small actions had left a mark far beyond his workshop. He had reminded everyone that compassion, skill, and bravery could reach across species, across worlds. The child, now fully able to move, began experimenting with its new limb. It reached out and touched nearby objects, discovering abilities that seemed to merge alien energy with human technology. Elias watched in awe, realizing that the child was not just healed, but enhanced. A new life, born from trust and cooperation, something neither human nor alien had created alone. As he helped the child practice, Elias felt a subtle vibration in the ground, a faint signal from the Queen's ship. A reminder that the universe had noticed him, that his actions had created ripples across the stars. He understood that this was not the end, but a beginning. The Queen's visit had shown him that humans, though small in the vast cosmos, could make a difference. Courage, ingenuity, and empathy, these were forces that even the stars could not ignore. The child looked up at him, eyes shining with curiosity and excitement. Elias smiled, feeling a connection that went beyond words. He realized that they were partners now, linked by trust, by shared experience, by the courage to act when it mattered most. Together, they would face the challenges of a universe that was vast, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous. For the first time, Elias felt truly alive. Not because of recognition or reward, but because he had made a choice that mattered. A human had touched the life of an alien species and changed the course of destiny. The Queen's presence, the child's survival, the colony's astonishment, all of it reminded him that even one person could influence the cosmos. As the sun rose higher, casting light across serene colony, Elias stood and looked toward the stars. He did not know what awaited him, what challenges or wonders the future held. But he knew one thing, he would meet them with courage, curiosity, and a willingness to act. The alien child stood beside him, a symbol of hope, resilience, and the bond between species. And together, they stepped forward into a universe that had suddenly become a little smaller, a little brighter, and full of possibilities. The adventure was just beginning.